Hi, I'm Chart Gal Lori, and I've been a trader and technical analyst for the last 8.5 years. So I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and what we do here Monday through Thursday is we bring you a market recap. So let's look at the market recap for Thursday, March 21st, 2024, better known as FOMC Hangover Day. So we had Apple making an absolute mess of things today. They have a DOJ investigation for antitrust probe with 16 states, actually 15 states plus the District of Columbia, and it's really weighing on Apple. If we look at FinViz, that's kind of a good place to start. The market was super healthy. If you look at the market as a whole, we have lots of green. We have a little red in healthcare, a little red in consumer defensive, and a little red in communication, but otherwise we have no big issues except for Apple. Apple and Tesla. Apple sticks out like a sore thumb. So Apple was down 4% today on that DOJ news, and it really weighed on the market as a whole. But let's go look at, did we really do any damage? Not really. We got a new all-time high today on ES. Look at that upper wick of profit taking. We really don't have a lower wick, so we have bears selling into that pop. Why would bears sell into that pop? Well, if you look at NASDAQ, we only broke this double top by we only broke this all-time high by $17. That's a double top with an $18,000 instrument. So now with that double top, it gave the SPY bulls a reason to start selling into that pop. And that's what happened. If we look at SPY, it's easy to see. This green line is yesterday's high, 520.62. Look at this gap between price as we close and now. Look how the big gap between price and yesterday's high. You know, it feels kind of red because of how we closed, but it's still a phenomenal performance. QQQ, look at that big gap. They were unable to close the gap and even touch yesterday's high. The Russell barely created a gap. It created a gap by 37 cents. We have a gap by 37 cents, but look how it closed. It closed very strong. Looking at the Dow, I keep pointing out this daily squeeze, and man, there it goes. Unbelievable. This daily squeeze on the Dow has been wonderful to watch. Just lots of pressure. And I talked about that Instapot last night. I talked about it. I've been talking about it for a few weeks now. That pressure building, and it released today, and it's beautiful. We got over 40,000 psych, new all-time high. All right, and VIX, I always smile when the VIX falls apart. I like pain. So VIX, daily EQ to the downside. We've lost the daily 50 MA. Our next support is down at 1235. Bitcoin had a pretty rough day. Now, we could be forming, and I could probably tighten this up on the 8 hour, it would look better. We could be forming a 4 hour inverse head and shoulders. It remains to be seen. But I would say right now, if you look at the symmetry, if we look at the low of the left shoulder here, 64505, we're almost there. So if we could hold that symmetry around 64,500, I think we could go for that potential 4 hour inverse head and shoulders. Looking at the Bitcoin related names, Coinbase held over yesterday's high. Actually, we opened right inside yesterday's high, so we don't have a gap, but we did hold over it most of the day, despite Bitcoin heaviness. Mara was moving above yesterday's high and then re-entered the range, closed pretty weak and red. Riot closed pretty weak and red. So on the next bounce, you'd be looking for a top fish compared to today's high, depending on what Bitcoin does overnight, of course. Looking at the dollar had a strong bounce today, but on the 4 hour, what are we looking for? A lower high. Odds favor a lower high compared to 104.149. When you have a higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, but with a big dip, and then you V-shape, you're using a lot of spending, a lot of bull buying power to push it back up. So bears will be looking at top fish 104.149. XLF, new all-time high today. Potential 4 hour bull flag. XLV has a daily squeeze that's forming. It had a green day, but it definitely was not one of the stronger sectors today. But no damage, major damage was done. Gold, we had a big upper wick of profit taking. Let's see, overnight when we opened up at 4 o'clock, we had a big pop and then fizzle. And that has marked, I think Dan mentioned it today, that has marked the top twice now where we have this big opening drive with a big pop, big upper wick, and it's just like a climax blow off top, and then we come in. That's happened twice on gold now. We have oil. This is in a 4-hour downtrend. However, bulls are looking for a daily higher low. Hourly got oversold today. I mentioned that in chat, and we got a bounce, and that's where we typically look for that daily higher low. And now bulls have made enough room for a potential hourly higher low compared to 80.30. Apple, I mentioned the DOJ news. So again, RSI doesn't matter as much when it's related to news. If you look at the weekly, we have a bear flag, a potential bear flag on Apple. It's not a good look. We do have earnings coming up next month. It'll be interesting to see if we have any type of recovery out of this potential weekly bear flag. Google closed red, closed near the low of day. We were unable to hold the gap up and almost tested yesterday's low, pretty weak. Microsoft got a new all-time high today, closed very strong. Microsoft looks great. We close with 30-minute EQ. This will be interesting to watch into tomorrow with this squeeze. So I'm going to add that to my list for Queen of the Mountain trade potential tomorrow. Tesla, actually, I had pointed out to y'all my winning trades on live stream. So this morning it is Thursday, right? Yeah, I wasn't live streaming, but I did post in chat. I was interested in this trade setup, and we popped up and then quickly gave it back. I was interested in the gap up and hold, and as soon as we broke 176.25, it was time to exit. And then we kind of just deflated the rest of the day like a balloon deflating. So this was a loss for me. Not a big one compared to the week of trades. However, it was a loss. Semis were super strong today. They gave a lot back, but look at that big gap between semis and yesterday's high. So they still were the leader today. AMD was not a leader. Absolutely not a leader. AMD re-entered yesterday's range and was unable to climb out above it. Look at ARM. ARM, big gap. Not a big gap, but a gap between price and yesterday's high. We actually closed that gap within 3 pennies. NVIDIA, we touched yesterday's high, and then we bounced strong. SMCI, came close to yesterday's high and bounced strong. So we had a lot of strong names in semis, but AMD was not one of those. CGC had a nice pop this morning, pop and drop, gave it all back and then some, and we're closing flat. We're only up 2 cents on the day. So that's frustrating. There's a lot of buying power that's used to push price up, and you just give all that ground back. So we'll see if this is a temporary top in CGC, and if bulls are calling a white flag surrender for now that they're out of buying power, we'll see. NMD got an upper wick of profit taking, still going sideways. The structure still maintained on this chart. MSOS, daily bull flag confirmed. I smile because I got a lot of happy parrots over there in our marijuana channel. I'm watching them. So we got a big candle today. Nice close, daily bull flag. And the volume was nice too. Our average volume is 7.65 million, and we had 10.7 million. Just what bulls want to see. And look at this squeeze. It hasn't even fired technically, so we could have more runway on this. OGI closed within a nickel of the high of day. Nice continuation from yesterday, just a beast. Look at that, firing bull, the squeeze. TCNNF, this is the one I was watching, and we got our daily bull flag confirmed with more follow through today. We got over that 1208 more convincingly. So we'll see if bulls can keep up this momentum tomorrow. What was their volume like? It was okay. It wasn't impressive. VRNF was the star of the day. And this is a pretty low volume name, over the counter ticker, but daily bull flag confirmed. And then I wanted to cover the 2 new IPOs. A-Lab was yesterday, and that's a lot of profit taking. A-Lab is a semiconductor and AI name, just so you're aware of what that name is. I'm going to keep it on my watch list. I enjoy the volatility once we get some price discovery under our belt. And Reddit. Reddit is the first social media name we've had in years, IPO. It had a ton of volatility, so I'll definitely be watching this for more scalps tomorrow. So if you could go give me a follow on Twitter, this is who I am. I'm Chart Gal Lori. And thank you for joining me tonight. All right, use stop losses.